All right, so welcome to another rapid fire business story of the week. This is part of our rapid fire series, and today we have an incredible guest with us, someone who's achieved extraordinary success and is here to share their unique business journey with you. We're excited to hear their insights, so let's welcome them to the show. All right, so as this is our rapid fire series, we've got 1 minute or less to answer each question. So in a minute or less, give us the elevator pitch to your story and your life. Go.
Hello there, my name is Toma Clark-Haines and I am the Antiques Diva. So I am the CEO of the world's largest antiques touring company. We take American designers, antique dealers, and mere shopping mortals abroad to Europe and Asia to source antiques. And we translate, we negotiate, we help our clients ship the items home sweet home. So I'm American, I'm from Oklahoma, and I live in Venice, Italy. And so you're joining me right now in Venice.
So that's fascinating, and I would love to dig a little bit deeper. So tell us a bit more about what you're working on today that you're most passionate about and believe will have the biggest impact.
What I am most passionate about and what I believe will have the biggest impact is actually my business coaching that I do with antique dealers. One of the things that I know is that I can help antique dealers succeed in the business of antiques. I fast track dealers. I help them figure out where they are, where they're going, why they're going there, what for, what is their reason why, and where are they going and why they're doing it. And then once we figured all of that out, I help them get where they're going.
So this next question is one that every entrepreneur has dealt with. Tell us about a time where you failed. We often say failure is the first step to success. So think about a time where you failed in the past. What happened? What did you learn from it?
So about 10 years ago, I made a decision to open a shipping division of the Antiques Diva Co. And we opened the shipping division. We were based out of Antwerp, and I hated it. I hated every single thing to do with that aspect of the company. And it was a profitable part of the company. And what I realized was that I make money when I'm having fun. If I'm enjoying my job, I'm making money. And I realized I don't want to be doing this. So I opened a division of the company to do shipping, and I realized I've got to let this go. And I closed the division down. It cost me money to close the division down, and it was the best decision in my business. We work with third-party shippers, and what I find is that we are in the feel-good side of the business, and I didn't want to be involved in the day-to-day logistics of shipping. And shipping is an essential part of buying antiques abroad. And I love that when I can liaison between the buyer, the seller, liaise between the buyer, the seller, and where it's going, and yet not be involved in all the dirty day-to-day details of that. I also find that I am most effective when I am working as a liaison because we have power with the shipping companies. We have power because at any given moment I have 7 containers at sea. And when I go to a third-party shipper as their client with a problem, the shipper listens to me. And I find that it's actually easier for me to be a mediator between third parties than honestly to be dealing with something that I didn't enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis. So my failure was I tried something new. It was quasi-successful. It made enough money, but I didn't like it. And I don't do things that I don't like anymore. So that's it.
That's fascinating. And we're definitely going to have you back on the show to dive deeper into each of these questions. But for now, one thing that I often say is, and I tell this to my employees and the people who work with me and for me all the time, is that when a tree falls in the forest, if nobody hears it, did that tree actually fall? This brings me to this next question. How do you make sure that all of these amazing projects that you're involved in get noticed? What marketing and advertising methods have worked best for you? You've got a minute. Let's go.
Okay, marketing, advertising, social media. We are caught up in a world of social media where you always have to be present. And you know what? The absolute most effective thing I have done for my business? It's show up in real life. I show up at the trade fairs. I speak at antique fairs worldwide, interior design fairs worldwide. I show up in person. And probably the rarest thing you can do in marketing these days is actually to just be real.
That was so awesome. We're definitely going to dive deeper into this on a later show. And as we approach our last question, before we ask people how people can get a hold of you, how people can reach you, learn more about the work that you're doing in your company, and we will include all that information in the show notes, what I wanted to ask you is, what is one piece of advice that you would offer to your younger self, to our audience, and to somebody, especially somebody who's just starting out in the same niche that you're in, but just doesn't know how to start or get going? Amazing stuff. We're going to have to thank our guest today.
Just do it. In the words of Nike, just do it. I think the way to succeed in business is to actually start your business. I think a lot of people spend time planning or daydreaming or imagining what it would be like to have their own antique store. But, and so many people wait until everything is perfect, until they know everything. And here's the reality. Nobody knows everything. You're never going to know it all. So you might as well get out there, jump in, dive into the pool and start your antique store and learn as you go. So at the Antiques Diva Co, we do business coaching for antique dealers, and that's what we do. We help dealers dive in and get started, and we hold their hand or throw them a life raft so that as they're in the middle of running their business, they have someone to run their business with them, to be by their side, to answer questions, to just walk with them. Being an antique dealer often means being a solo entrepreneur, and it's difficult to be a solo entrepreneur. It's lonely, and that's why we're there. We're there to provide that person who's walking along with them as they're running their business. So my best piece of advice to myself, I would have gotten started a lot sooner than I did, and my best piece of advice to other people is just do it. If you have a dream, pursue it.
Today for being a guest on Business Story of the Week. And before we cut out on this episode, I wanted to ask you, how can people get a hold of you? How can people learn more about what you're doing? And how do people engage with you? And we will transcribe this and put it in the show notes for everybody to find.
So I'm Toma Clark-Haines, founder of the Antiques Diva Co. And you can find me at antiquesdiva.com, Toma, Toma, at antiquesdiva.com, or on Instagram, Antiques Diva, Facebook, The Antiques Diva. If you Google The Antiques Diva, you're going to find us.
All right, amazing. So you did it. Thank you for being a guest on the show today. Let me tell you what you can expect next. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all this, we're going to cut it into an episode. It will go on the Business Story of the Week page. So make sure you go on Apple Podcasts, review us, like us, go on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to us on Spotify, and this will come out in the next 30 days or so, depending on our workload and how many shows we have. We have had a lot of interest in the show lately, so we may be a little backed up, but the show will get out. In the meanwhile, we will send you clips that feel free to share on social. Also, the full episode. Feel free to share any way that you like. The content is yours to share and put out there. We just ask that you mark us and tag us in the notes if you do. So in the copy, put hashtag business story of the week, link back to us. We would appreciate that. And if you think that you might be interested in doing more podcasts, live ones and studio ones, Zoom ones, Riverside ones, there's a whole host of shows that likely if you did this one and succeeded, you would probably be really great at, and a great way of getting your message out. So your host will talk to you about potentially getting you booked on a strategy call for a business story of the week's sister company, Podcast Cola, or becoming a YouTube influencer through Viral Mirage. Thanks again for being a part of this. Looking forward to working with you.